I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Incline Village Crystal Bay Citizens Advisory Board. Let me determine if we have a quorum, which we do. We'll determine this way. Mark Zasway. You say here?
Here.
Okay. Chris Wood.
Here.
Diane Becker.
Here.
Roxana Dunn. Here. And Denise Davis. Here. Do we have anyone online who's on the board? Kevin was possibly going to do that. Jody, I think, is not feeling well, so she was not. Okay, so it's just the five then. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Let me add.
Andrea trying to say something that she can get. She's muted.
You can't hear me?
You can't hear us.
So we have a speaker issue.
Yeah. Okay, here's the audio thing. I know this from the notes.
Okay, there's the flag.
Sure, yeah. Ready? I don't think so. Are we ready? It's up to the chairperson.
About that, is that
Well,
better?
You know the Pledge of Allegiance.
Testing?
There we are. There we
Okay,
go.
perfect.
Okay. All right. Who did I ask? Anybody? Helen. Yes, to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Number 3 is general public comment. Do we have anyone in the room who wants to make a general public comment? Do we have anyone online who wants to make a general public comment?
Oh, I wanted to make a general comment.
Okay, Denise Davis wants to make a GPC.
Alexandra, I don't see Alexis yet. Is she planning to join us?
I don't see her online.
Okay. Okay. They're gonna make a vote.
Okay.
All right. Denise Davis, my public comment is I had previously sent an email to Commissioner Hill about some confusion online about the senior ride program. On the RTC website, it says that it's only available to Reno and Spark citizens, but on the Washoe County website, the Washoe Senior Ride says it's open to any Washoe County resident. And she had replied to my email, but I didn't see an answer specifically to that question. Also wanted to let everyone know that CERT Training Academy has started in January. We have another academy coming up in April. So if you want a cool black hat with green CERT letters on it like mine, please join us for CERT. And Alexandra, I just wanted to make a comment about the America 250 programs that we're having for the semi-quincentennial. Is there any way that those can be recorded or broadcast on the Washoe County website? Because they look like really great programs, but not all of us can get to them on the mornings when they're held. So just a suggestion for the county that they might want to think about recording those so that we can all participate in our 250th anniversary festivities. All right, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. We do have a pretty packed agenda tonight, so let's be very concise in our questions and comments. In any case, item number 4 is announcements from Commissioner Hill. She's not with us yet, so we will move on to item number 5, which is cab member announcements. So I'll do you want to open with that? Okay, Diane Becker.
So due to the fact that there was no notice to the public of the opening, the TARPA position, the selection was put off. So I believe the county is taking resumes and applications for the advisory planning board. It's really important that we try to get someone from Incline Village or Crystal Bay to be on the planning board of TARPA. And I think that we have so many highly qualified, knowledgeable people. I just wanted to remind you to look on the Washoe County website. I don't know, Alexandra, has it posted yet?
Yeah, and I'll go over that in the announcements from staff at the end of the agenda.
Oh, great. Okay. But everyone, please really consider it, because we had great representation by Judy Simon, who is a very knowledgeable, active local person in the past, and our interests were at least brought before the advisory planning board. Thank you.
I have Dylan Nelson.
All right,
Yeah,
Chris
sure.
Wood.
Yeah, Chris Wood, CAB. I'm going to roll off some TRPA coming up events. This Wednesday is TRPA Governing Board meeting. That's at 10:30. Of course, it's available online. But at 9 o'clock, before the 10:30 meeting, the TRPA staff is going to present proposed threshold standards, and these will be involving forest health, and also water quality. So that's of importance too. Just after the meeting on the 28th, there will be a notice of preparation of environmental impact statement to be made by TRPA regarding the policies to improve housing affordability. So that's a very important matter. So look for the notice and plug into TRPA for following up on housing matters being covered in that analysis under the environmental impact statement. February 11th, TRPA Advisory Planning Commission, which we just talked about here. There'll be such a meeting, their first one this year. That's the position from this area that we are hoping to fill with a local resident. February 27th, the state legislature's oversight of TRPA is meeting for a second time, and they will go over environmental improvement program. They will also go over forest health, wildfire prevention, and evacuation. So those are upcoming TRPA deadlines.
Great, thank you. All right, I'll give one update, and that is regarding evacuation. I don't see Chief Kelly on the thing yet. Alexandra, do you know if Kelly's going to join us later?
She didn't reach out to say whether or not she was joining us later, but I don't see her on currently.
All right, well, I'll follow up with her. Well, in any case, the evacuation study has been ongoing since last July. We completed the modeling and chose a vendor, which I've already talked about. In December, Diane and I were invited to join Kelly and several people from her staff and several people from the fire department. And I'm pretty sure somebody from the sheriff was there, but I don't remember for sure. To go over a map of Incline Village and Crystal Bay and proposed draft zones. So these will not be the eventual zones. Those will be determined by analysis. This is just areas that they're going to start to do some analysis on. So that's where the evacuation study is. I had asked Kelly she had actually volunteered at that meeting to join us at each of our CAB meetings and give us an update. So hopefully if she's not able to make it today, we will definitely get her in February. So that is moving forward.
I do have a question for the sheriff. I don't know if the sheriffs were not invited or to that meeting, or if no one was able to come. But one of the issues that we raised is there are so many intersections where there's going to, there would be sort of gridlock essentially. And one of the questions that was asked is, well, how would you have enough? And of course, it sounded like the fire department was expecting that you were going to be at all these intersections. And I'm just wondering, how many people does the sheriff's department devote to this? Does the sheriff's department send lots of people up from Reno so that they can go do the door to door on the real in danger areas and be at the intersections? And how much involvement will you have in really talking about these are the intersections that you're the most worried about? I'm sorry, that was a lot of questions, but that was what went through my mind at the meeting, was so much was going to be done by you all.
Right, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Come up by the microphone.
Yeah.
You got there. Lieutenant Nick Tone, Washoe County Sheriff's Office. So just as a general answer to that question, I participated in one of the last evacuation drills as a sergeant up here in Incline Village. What we will do in the event of mass evacuation, you have your Incline assigned staff, which you are correct, there are not many. We have only 4 at a time plus a supervisor, but total for the sheriff's office, we have 525 sworn, and a great number of those are also located down at the detention facility. As a side note, all of our staff and sworn staff go through a Category 1 academy, which is the highest level of training. Some bigger agencies, the detention staff go through a lower level of training. They're not allowed out on the street. They don't do all the constitutional law and all the other stuff that you learn to be out here on the road and be a patrolman. Every single deputy sheriff in Washoe County goes through the highest level of academy. So that being said, we have a large quote unquote bucket to pull people from in the event we need to. We can lock down the detention facility, call people in. We can have a number of vans. We can load up deputies in and get them up here to assist. The best real world example I can give was the Davis fire. I was one of the individuals in charge of evacuating St. James Village. I was first on the scene there. What we ended up doing in that fire, in that evacuation, kind of a similar setup, a lot of intersections in Galena Forest, St. James Village, not a lot of ingress, egress. We had to sort of plan to get people out. We relied on our partners at other agencies to assist, which they were very good. If there was a serious evacuation up here, I would not be the least bit surprised to see Reno PD and Sparks PD up here helping out. That's the MOUs and the agreements that we have with them, the way we help each other out. That being said, that'll be the door to door. CERT will have their help out. We'll have all of our search and rescue volunteers. We'll have the sworn deputies out there doing traffic control, and we'll have a master plan as well off of the highway. NHP will be handling most of the highway stuff, but we do have a lot of resources, a lot of people, a lot of assets that we can pull up in the event that an unusual but possible catastrophic incident occurs.
That really made me feel better for half of my concern. So my half was how are these 4 guys going to handle this? But the other part of the concern was how much planning is the sheriff's department involved in? And I say this because when I lived in Ventura County, I was on the Red Cross board, and we had fires all of the time, unfortunately, for 11 years. And we knew where we were part of working with the forces, and I don't know whether it was public or not, but we knew they had people that were literally knowledgeable of the areas. Are we going to be able, do you think, to get you all a group of sheriffs who really know what the area is, so that it's all kind of pre-planned and it's not just running around going, oh, where should I go?
Yeah, and speaking to what Kelly does.
Yeah.
Part of the study she's doing, we're invited to all of those. So we also play our part.
Good.
The evacuation drills, we're all there as well. And we also have individuals, supervising and sergeants that have been up here for a very long time. I was one of them. I was up here for 6 years. So we have people who are very, very familiar with the area that would be running that. Right. So there is a lot of geographic and what we refer to as beat knowledge up in the Incline area at the sheriff's office.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, great, and we'll have you back up in just a second. Actually, do you need to sit down? No, not really. Agenda item number 6, we're finished with the board announcements, correct? All right, so agenda item number 6 is public safety update. So this is your standard update.
Excellent. Again, Lieutenant Nick Tone, Washoe County Sheriff's Office.
Lieutenant Tone, how about if you come over here? Yep.
Can
You know what? Can I make a suggestion? I have really good access. Why don't you sit here?
I got a microphone here.
Okay, good.
All right. Lieutenant Nick Tone, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, specific to Incline Village. I was up here for 6 years as a deputy and then as a sergeant. And most recently, I am the watch commander down in Reno. So I do have purview up here during the graveyard hours, Sunday through Wednesday. If you guys call for anything late at night in the witching hour, that'll be my team showing up to help out. A couple of Real quick updates for you guys from the sheriff's office, a couple of things we have going on. We have not got our quarterly data yet, which breaks down calls for service or beat. So I don't have any of the specifics for Incline Village. I'll be able to share that with you at a later CAT. However, we did get our scorecard as an entire agency for the month of December. Total calls for service, we had 7,561 calls for service. So they're typically people who picked up a phone, called 911, and they needed assistance in some way, shape, or form. And just to give you guys an idea of how busy of an agency we are, we're typically running 12 people per shift. So that's a lot of calls for service. A lot of people, our deputies are out there hooking it for depending all over the county. Basically, Gerlach, the Washoe Valley to Incline Village. Very, very large county. A couple of things I'd like to bring up. If you guys follow us on social media, as I know a lot of the residents of Incline Village do, you've probably seen a couple of our posts lately about drones. Some of our drones up in the air. Just want to give you guys an idea of what those drones look like and what they do. Right now, if you see a sheriff's office drone in the air, they are typically a mission-driven item. For instance, we used one up here in Incline Village. I believe it was a month or a month and a half ago. I don't have the exact date for you, but we had a missing 11-year-old child. 11-year-old walked off, got a couple of calls from some people in the city that said, excuse me, the town, that saw this child walking up the street. Deputies went looking for him, were unable to find him, so we threw the drone with thermal imaging and flew over the golf course. Eventually, that child was found. So that is one of the tools we have and we are deploying for a variety of reasons. Illegal dumping is a big one. Typically, we see that more down in the valley than we do up here, but it does happen. We'll go out there, illegal shooting, places that we have a hard time getting to. We'll throw a drone out there just to get eyes on it and to be able to see what we have, what we're doing, and deputies will go out there. Also, there's a public safety component. For instance, I'll give you a real call for service. We had a call a couple of weeks ago where we had two individuals that were in a fight, two neighbors. Allegedly, one was beating another one with some kind of a weapon. So our units go and route lights and sirens, which is a very dangerous thing. Driving full lights and sirens, going through intersections. It's a very dangerous but necessary activity that we do. We were able to deploy one of our drones and get on scene and see that the incident had subsided. Now it is a past tense incident. Parties had separated to their own homes. We're able to have our units go down to a normal response, making it a much safer environment for the public, and we're still able to get there. Another youth program that we're doing right now. Also, there's some arson issues going on down in the Spanish Springs area of Reno. We've been using the drones for that as well. Great tool. If you ever see it flying in the air, so you guys know kind of what's going on the back end. They're not autonomous. They're not being formed by AI. We have a team of deputies that have their Part 107 certifications through the FAA. They are the pilots. They are deputy sheriff eyes out there doing these calls for service, backing up units, and doing what they need to do. So they are real people behind these tools that we now have. One other thing I wanted to bring up that has been brought up in all the other cabs, how to get a hold of us and how if you guys need something. The two best ways to get a hold of us, I always like to pitch 311. A lot of people don't know how that works. 311, you go on Washoe County, 311, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it has no purview for the sheriff's office, but you just need somebody in the county to take care of it. There's a real person that looks at that complaint, concern, whatever it is that you put into there, and it gets routed to the appropriate person's desk. I get comments, I get traffic complaints through 311 on a regular basis from all over the county. That way it goes to me and I can get it to the right person so we can go ahead and get that taken care of. Another way, if you want to reach out to us directly, is very simply washowsheriff.com. You can put in traffic complaints, submissions, homeless camps, favorable conduct, unfavorable conduct, or any interactions you have with deputies or anything you saw. A one-stop shop, and that goes all the way up to the supervisor that goes directly to us. 311 does the same thing. It's a bit of a one-stop shop. Washoe Sheriff is direct, but it's two ways to skin a cat. We'll go to us either way. Besides that is all I had for you guys today. Any questions for me? Yeah.
Sorry, I have another question. So we've had a lot of discussion about accidents, potential accidents with all of the motorized bikes that people are riding and the lack of training. Is there anything being looked at in terms of actually citing people that go over the speed limit as opposed to just I know the idea of education is great, but in the summer, it doesn't seem like, you can't really educate people that aren't here. Mm-hmm. So is there anything being looked at in terms of you're actually citing people?
So there's a couple parts to that question.
Could you repeat the question? She's facing the way.
No worries.
I'm sorry, that was
So
bad.
basically the question, you're looking at essentially enforcement for a lot of the e-bikes, motorized bikes in the summertime, above and beyond the education component that we've started with in the last year. So for my background, I was in charge of starting and deploying our e-bike team up here in Incline Village last year. So we are putting those e-bikes out there, using some of the sheriff ones. Ideally, if staffing is appropriate, which hopefully will be a little bit more next year, we will take those people who have gone through that school and we'll put them on the trails to help mitigate these issues. That being said, in terms of actual things we can do, we can absolutely cite for basic speed. Bicycles have to follow the same rules as everywhere else. The ones that people most often want cited have to meet very specific elements, just like any other crime or criminal complaint. For instance, reckless riding has to meet the status of wanton disregard for public safety. That's not going to be 5 miles an hour. It's going to be behavior. That's going to be what they're doing. For instance, we have gotten people to go rent a bike down at whatever place running bicycles right now. I know around a little bit, and they're going 35 miles an hour down the road. And people are walking their little kids with strollers and dogs and everything else. 100% reckless. We'll get that every single time, and we will pull them over in a car. We don't have to pull them over in a bicycle. We will get them. The best thing you can do, we have guys going up and down Lakeshore all the time. We are a very data-driven agency. So what I would ask is, when you call dispatch, be it for the non-emergency number, a traffic complaint, we can aggregate that data. That's how we're going to deploy a lot of our resources. So most often than not, our complaints overwhelmingly come from Lakeshore. So we do have a disproportionate amount of staff at Lakeshore. That's where a lot of the e-bike issues are. That's where a lot of other issues are. And that's where we go to try to actually stop the e-bikes from seeing a stop sign, hopping onto the trail, ripping through, blowing the stop signs, getting back on the roadway, 30, 40 miles an hour. So especially up in Incline, our deputies up here are trained on the different classifications of e-bikes, what you can cite, what you cannot cite. And county code is starting to catch up and give us a little bit of teeth in that regard. I know this issue came up first a couple of years ago, and unfortunately there weren't a lot of teeth. That has started to get remedied.
Yeah. And can you maybe give Alexandra the phone number, and she put it online that people should call in?
Yes, just a non-emergency. It's the 775-328 WCSO. I think that's 9276.
Okay.
Sir.
Mark, that's right. Are they drones visibly apparent as sheriff drone? Are they larger?
It depends. So what I can tell you, and actually as a side note, if the cab wants to get one of our drone operators up here to go over all of them, reach out. That's something we can absolutely do. As a side note, one of the chief drone pilots is my sister. So I'll make that happen.
Well, I would imagine they'd be available online.
There's a couple of drones we have. There's some of them, the smaller ones you see usually in between. We have a couple of very large ones that are called a matrice. That is a very large drone that's meant to fly in inclement weather. Rain, snow, wind, what have you, it's made for that. We also have smaller drones for more tactical operations. For instance, we need to go into a house and fly inside. We have little ones for that too. But typically the ones you're going to see are the ones that you'll most likely not be able to differentiate. It's going to have the blinking red and green lights or FAA rules and underneath their flyer. So you'll see them in the air. But like anything else, if you have a question, another thing we're doing with these drones or anything is clandestine, just call and ask. It's not a problem.
So, do you, Chris Wood, Cab, can you launch from here, your drones from this location in the village, or do you call up somebody in Reno and say, send one up here?
So there's a couple of different things we're doing right now. We're still in the early stages of deploying what we call DFR. That means drone first responder. Those are boxes on top of various buildings, including the jail at Park Boulevard, where they'll be at a computer sitting inside the building and they'll launch a drone from the roof and they're flying from a computer. That is something they can do. We're working and deploying those in other parts around the county. I'm not exactly sure what the status for Incline is at the moment. We're getting one of those up here. But regardless, every shift does have a deputy that has a drone in their car. So they'll be able to actually go to a safe location under their flyers, not the right word I'm looking for. The FAA rule that allows us to fly. And they'll be able to go to a location and put the drone up in the air, fly under that, and actually deploy it. And we do have a handful of those we try to divvy out between the different shifts and beats, so they are available for a variety of beats in the community.
So one is anticipated to be installed up here?
Ideally, I'm not gonna say I know exactly where, but I think the ultimate plan is to get those at the number of.
Well, how long does it take to get a drone up here from, so the little boy wanders off, parents are freaking out. How long does it take to get a drone up?
If there isn't already one up here assigned, drive time.
Drive time?
So, and that's something where if we have the ability and that tool is appropriate,
Mhm.
the supervisors on scene will get that tool getting up here early to get it going. Of course, if we manage to get one of those first responder boxes up here,
Mhm.
it's 5 seconds.
Yep.
So that's a future, sort of where we're heading.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone else have
Yeah.
questions for the sheriff? Anyone in the room have questions for the sheriff? Anyone online, questions for the sheriff? All righty, thank you.
Fantastic.
Lieutenant Tone, appreciate it. Good update. Alexandra, I don't see anybody from the fire department. Am I wrong? No. Okay, well, I smelled smoke on the way up here, so I hope that,
There's a burn going.
are they doing burning? I hope they're doing controlled burnings and not, crazy burnings. Okay,
Yeah, so
all right, that brings us then to our, main, speakers today. So let me introduce this, a little bit. In several past meetings, we have had brainstorms where we let people suggest different kinds of safety improvements that could be done around here. And we have submitted those over the years to the county. I can't remember if we have submitted them directly to NDOT or not. If we haven't, Helen Neff definitely has. So, we've been talking to them. They have wound up in reports, which is fine. That's a good place to start, but it's not a great place to end. And so today's topic is how do we get the suggestions that we have made in the past from those reports into the candidate list for actually having improvements made in the area. And so there is a program called the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, FTIP, FTIP, that I think offers grants to various locations to do particular transportation type improvements. As I understand it, in the Tahoe Basin, that is all coordinated through TRPA. So we have asked people from TRPA, and specifically, we have asked Nick, what's your last name?
Nick Haven?
Nick Haven,
Yeah.
and where she is.
Michelle Glickert.
Michelle Glickert, yes, are from the TRPA Transportation Department. And then also we have.
Kevin Berry from.
Yeah, Kevin Berry.
From Nevada Department of Transportation.
From NDOT, okay, Nevada Department of Transportation. So
I'd also like to recognize Judy Weber. She's also from TRPA. She does a lot of our financing and funding.
Okay, great. Good. I like the word funding being worked in there somehow. In any case, I didn't get the kind of introductory stuff that I was hoping for. So I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves, and in particular, Michelle, just tell us what your department is and generally what you cover, and then go ahead and go through your spiel.
Great. Thank you, Roxana. Yes, I'm Michelle Glickert, and I'm the Transportation Planning Director at the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. And my team focuses on transportation planning, which includes a lot of our planning documents. And that, I'd like if you could, you go to the slide presentation, or is that something I need to do?
That should be Alexandra. Is Alexandra back?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
just like give me one.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to work my intro in here. So at the Regional Planning Agency, the transportation team is really looking at the long-term vision for transportation in Tahoe. And that's on this first slide. That is that bottom, Connections 2050, our regional transportation plan. We also produce other what we call kind of modal plans, those regional plans off to the right, a Vision Zero strategy and an active transportation plan. And then we work with our local agencies and our statewide agencies as they develop other transportation plans. Now, the idea here is that the regional transportation plan is that overarching document that provides the vision for the next 20 years. We update it every 4, so we can tweak it along the way as we're going. So every 20 years, it has to have a funding plan and it has a host of projects for us to complete the goals of the transportation plan, which are improving the environment, right? We want you to leave the car behind when you can. And that helps with the environment, that helps with water quality. We also want a safer place for everyone to move around. You heard a lot. That's why you have a nice item on your committee, right? Safety is really important. So this larger plan creates that vision and everything else around it. Those local plans right there, you're going to see the Washoe County Tahoe Transportation Plan. That's a newer one. We're so happy that you guys developed that, along with, of course, SR 28 Corridor Management Plan. All of these plans are done with public outreach. We do surveys, we come to the cab. We are also at the TRPA Governing Board. And they are a host of, really, it's the transportation planning's team. Our job is to tee these projects up, these plans, that vision and those goals, so that we then can get them implemented. So that's another part of today's presentation, really. And Nick, I'm going to turn it over to Nick Haven to talk through that. But last but not least is that statewide plan. So what's really important here too is that as a region, we are in alignment with One Nevada Transportation Plan. So we work closely with them, just like we work closely with the partners around the basin and the public to make sure that everything is in alignment when it comes to what that vision is, what those goals are, and how we're going to achieve them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick Haven to talk a little bit about implementation.
Thank you, Michelle. You can go to the next slide, Alexandra. Thank you. Just a quick intro. My name is Nick Haven, and I manage the Transportation Improvement Program. And so what that is basically where we try to take the projects that are identified in the Regional Transportation Plan that Michelle discussed and try to start moving those towards implementation and getting them on the ground. And so just to understand kind of roles and responsibilities, so TRPA, we don't build projects, right? And so we have to rely on our local partners like Washoe County. We have to rely on our state DOT and other partners that deliver those transportation improvements, right? And so our job is similar to the public's job and like the CAB, where you're advocating for priorities in your community, right? Whether they're safety improvements, other improvements that the community wants to see, you need to advocate in terms of, who is delivering those projects, whether it's NDOT or the county, and get those elevated on their investment plans, their capital improvement plans, because that's where the resources then get put to actually deliver those projects and put them on the ground. And so I'm going to talk through a couple of ways that TRPA helps facilitate that process. It has a combination of securing funding. And so TRPA runs a regional grant program. I'll get to that in a little bit. That's one way that we can push money out, but that's a really limited slice of the overall funding that goes into transportation projects. It really is those capital budgets of the state DOT and the local governments. And so here's a host of potential funding sources. Transportation projects in Tahoe are a whole menagerie of funding. We really have to kind of cobble it together from a lot of different sources to make projects actually happen. And so that takes a lot of effort and a lot of resources, but we're working well with all of our partners to do that. We all help each other out, identifying sources, supporting each other, because there's a lot of what we call discretionary grants out there where we have to basically compete for funding, whether it's at the federal level, at the state level, or even sometimes the local level with like TOT funding and other things, right? Where you really have to get that elevated, those projects kind of pushed. So Roxana mentioned the Federal Transportation Improvement Program. That's essentially our accounting document. It's our tracking document. And so, as you heard Michelle say, there's kind of a lot of cooks in the kitchen around transportation, right? A lot of people are involved. A lot of people are doing different things. But TRPA tries to kind of centralize all of that information in one place. And the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, or FTIP, is that 4-year window. So it's very near term, the next 4 years of basically actual funding. And so it's not necessarily a document that distributes funding. It's actually a document that tracks funding that's been received. And so it allows us to see and have visibility on projects that are moving forward and advancing, or projects that are partially funded and need a little more funding and support. Okay, so the next slide, please, Alexander. So one way that TRPA supports that process is through our regional grant program.
Alexandra, slide.
Can we do the next slide, please?
There we go.
So TRPA every 2 years, we are responsible as the Metropolitan Planning Organization, kind of like Washoe RTC. We're responsible for administering federal and state funding that kind of comes to the region per se. And so there's about $11.5 million every couple of years, and it slowly grows, that TRPA has the discretion to distribute. And so we do that through a project solicitation process. So we basically ask for project concepts and proposals from those implementing agencies, right? And we do that, like I said, every 2 years. These are the funding sources that are included in that make up that 11.7 million. And then we have criteria to select the projects that's based on that regional transportation plan and those goals and those policies within there that are built from public support and agency and data-driven process. And so we do that every 2 years. We just did that in November. So that was just recently done. And unfortunately, there were no projects funded in Washoe County because there were no projects submitted in Washoe County. And so I think that speaks to elevating projects, getting the county or NDOT to put those projects forward into this process or go after their own discretionary grants to fund improvements. Okay. So next slide. So I'm going to ask Kevin Berry to come up here. We don't have the latest version. So there is a handout right here. We forgot the updated version with the slide on there. I guess oh, thanks. So we want to tap these on.
I should have called him again, but
there you go. You got one. And Kevin can talk a little bit about the state DOT's process of not only planning, but then on project sales.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Kevin Berry. I'm with the Nevada Department of Transportation. I see over their planning group. You would have noticed a slide that Michelle presented. It had that one Nevada emblem on there. That's NDOT's long-range plan. In 2018, we kicked off this effort, and basically what it was is to really start looking at data to help inform on decisions. We used 6 goal areas to really focus our attention. Those goal areas are enhance safety, preserve infrastructure, optimize mobility, transform economies, foster sustainability, and connect communities. Those are just goal areas. And what we really are trying to do there is establish where are we going to focus our funding and where are we going to focus those decisions. Ultimately, the way we do it is we take I wish I had this slide because it's pretty interesting, but on the handout, we have a number of situations. We have needs, concepts, and projects. And as you guys saw, we have a lot of planning studies out there just in the Tahoe region. Those are all providing recommendations, not only to the local governments, but also the state governments. And so what we want to do is funnel that down into something that we can actually implement. The problem is we have a lot more need than we have funding. And so in order to make better decisions, we are deploying what we're calling the One Nevada process, which is that prioritization piece. using those goal areas to help us align our projects. You have to also remember that it's not a singular area that we're looking at. All of the needs are getting compared against one another. And that's what's really unique about the One Nevada process is, oh, I appreciate that, whoever did that. There we go. What's really unique about that is that we're having to look at not only needs within the Washoe County area, but also the Clark County and the other rural areas of Nevada, and really make decisions on what we can fund. We have a finite amount of funding available. I can go into that if you'd like, but the most important piece is what we're really trying to do is make sure we're delivering the best project we can with the limited source. So I don't, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about One Nevada, but more importantly, I guess, is you guys are concerned with how do you get some of these recommendations into a position to get deployed into a project. And that's where this slide kind of helps, or this handout kind of helps run through how a project's developed. Ultimately, we have a number of needs that we're evaluating. We then determine which need is gonna provide that bang for the buck based on some of the goal areas we've gone over today. And then ultimately we start formulating concepts that will help us resolve any sort of issues. It's a long process. Like I said, based on the handout, you can see that we have a number of situations. We go from planning what we're going to do. We have some environmental reviews. Then we have a funding decision step, and then ultimately construction. With that, I don't know how far, Roxana, you want me to go into this. I can talk forever on it.
So I had asked for a slide that suggested to us. Is it coming?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
So maybe that's when we have the most discussion.
Michelle, why don't you're controlling, you're driving.
No,
the next couple slides. So-
Alexandra is driving it.
Yeah. Why don't you stand here? All right. Well,
Yeah.
good.
Stay close.
Yeah, I
So-
tried. I'm sorry. I don't think it worked.
Oh, okay. So, so we sent this via PDF, so hopefully that can get distributed electronically to the group, but it does have some kind of key contacts. So the key contacts are there to try to help. Like, we're here to facilitate and help you advocate for projects that you want in your community, right? And so we can help in a number of different ways, not only point you to the right people and the right agencies, but also even help with data. Like, we have a lot of safety data and other things that can help. And so we've tried to put some key contacts up here for Washoe County, NDOT, and TRPA, so you can follow up. If you have questions on how to navigate or how to follow up on, writing letters or other advocacy tactics, we're happy to help review, provide you data to help with that effort. And so there's also the other slide there on key plans and things are links to a lot of those plans that also provide you a basis for asking for a certain project, whether it's a safety project called out in a Vision Zero safety plan. You can reference the documents appropriately and craft your proposal and request. So that is where these last two slides are trying to help with that.
Great.
Yeah, ultimately, NDOT doesn't really have like a request a project form. As you can probably guess, we get inundated with that, right?
Yeah.
But what we are really trying to do is take those plans that are derived by the locals as well as the department and pull those recommendations down and really start that funneling approach of those are all needs that we're trying to navigate through. What are those that are going to provide, the best solution or the best answer to the concern we're trying to address, and then ultimately put that into a stance for delivery. you guys are fortunate that you have a number of state facilities throughout the basin. So we're, there's a lot of situations where NDOT is your somewhat solution for improvement. That's also a negative too, if you think about it, because there isn't a lot of funding to go around the state. I can dive into that. It's, we get around 400 million from the feds, probably 200 in state that can go to projects. And that includes all of our freeway work. That includes any kind of project that you can think of that's driven by the state. So when you really start thinking about it, it's that the needs are there. We're just resource limited, and that's the funding and the people. So it's, it's important to be an advocate for your region, but also understand the limited resources we do have to help with that. Some of the things that we're really trying to do is, as we start delivering on preservation work, any of the 3R, or those are pavement jobs where we're preserving like 28, 50, that's when we try to work in some of these smaller improvements for either safety, some sort of situation to help with some of the issues outside of just making sure the pavement is maintained and in good shape.
Okay. So, Roxana Dunn from the CAB. What is currently being pursued on the SR 28 corridor plan?
What is currently being pursued
in
terms of funding?
No, in terms of improvements,
Projects. Okay, I'm probably going out over my skis because TTD is the lead, and the Tahoe Transportation District is the lead for those projects. But there's a number of improvements that are either partially funded or fully funded. There are some trail segments extending from Sand Harbor past Thunderbird Cove, marching its way towards Spooner Summit, or in Spooner at the intersection of 50 and 28. There is a mobility hub that's not in Washoe County per se, but there's a mobility hub and aquatic invasive species inspection station moving forward at Spooner. It's just a little north of that intersection of 50 and 28. And then there is also some parking improvements being made at the current parking at Tunnel Creek there. There's some parking expansion being done there to help with some of that shoulder parking. And then there is a number of parking lots that are trying to relocate the unsafe highway parking off of Highway 28 into some collected lots that can allow us to expand the no parking zones and improve safety along there. And those are a combination of Forest Service lots like at Chimney Beach, and like I said, the Spooner lot, and one other at, sorry, I'm trying to run all this off. So there are parking lots all along 28 as well.
Is that going to include a bus transportation back to the area?
Yes. So that's in the works as well, trying to get funded projects to provide that shuttle service, so to speak, along 28 to not only connect those parking facilities, but also alleviate some of the impacts in shoulder parking, like by Tunnel Creek and others.
Okay, let me just clarify for everyone, because we have a lot of new people tonight, and welcome, by the way. We're glad to see all of you. We open questions. We are bound by the open meeting law. Thank you. That I get slapped around on fairly frequently. But anyway, we have to do things that kind of preserves the minutes and and just the order of things. So we can't do a lot of back and forth. I just want to make that clear. We start by allowing the board members to ask their questions, and then we go to the folks in the room, and then we go to the folks online. And when you have an opportunity to ask a question, you do have to limit it certainly no more. I'm not sure if that's into the 3-minute thing, but do try to keep them short tonight. You only get one time. You don't come around again. So sorry about that. So think carefully about what you want to ask. So, are you ready for us to ask questions?
Fire away.
Okay, so-
Alexis has her hand up there.
All right,
Alexis,
all right.
joined us.
Alexis has joined us. Okay,
She's on the road.
she's, Alexis, we definitely want to hear from you. Now is not a really great time. Are you able to hang around for 15 minutes?
Yes, I will definitely try.
Okay. We definitely want to hear from you. So kind of holler, tell Alexandra something. All right. So we'll start with board members. So Diane Becker.
So the Washoe Tahoe Transportation Plan that was done by a group out of Las Vegas, they put a lot of time into it. A lot of us who were participants in getting together things with them put a lot of time into it. And we haven't seen anything come out of that because of funding. Has that been presented to either of you? And are we going to get some funding for some of there's some very local suggestions in there that could really, we think, help safety. And are any of those being looked at?
I can go first. We did get that plan. We are looking, and again, those are a lot of recommendations. So recommendations to us are needs, because we want to develop the right concept to ultimately have a project that delivers a solution that helps that. So we are looking at that. Again, with the One Nevada process, we do take all those needs and we try to evaluate them as quickly as we can. We have more needs to get, like I said, we have more needs than we know what to do with. And what we're trying to do is really understand how to look at those needs, put enough data towards them to elevate them and move those forward in the right manner so that we are hitting, again, as a statewide agency, we need to make sure we're addressing those needs that are of the most importance. I'm not trying to lessen what was done there. What I'm saying is we will get to those. What we really like to do is we like to see, when we're doing a preservation project, what sort of needs we can also pull into that preservation project and ultimately try to deliver with a pavement improvement project. So that's what we're really trying to do. Again, 2018 is when we started the One Nevada process. That's when we started really getting serious about data. And we are still refining that process to understand what sort of information should we be getting or asking out of these plans. Parametrics delivered that plan for Washoe County. It was a great plan. What information can we ask our consultants and our regional partners to ask these consultants to put in, so it's easier for us to digest it in this One Nevada process? We're getting there. We're still refining that approach, but ultimately we are looking at that every time. We're building out a database that's geo-referenced. So what we've done is we've taken our network that we own statewide, and what we're trying to do is tie all these needs to each of those facilities, like 28, like 50, so that as projects come up, we can see what else is out there. How good was it? A 10-year-old plan? Was it just recently? What's the current state based on our data? We put data towards the roadway to understand what the safety concerns are, what the mobility, and that's more congestion related. What sort of economic factors are going to help really move this forward? So we're doing that, but again, this process is I don't want to call it new. We just know we have to keep refining it to better capture what things are coming out of these great plans that not only Tahoe, but also the local and regional partners are putting together.
So because Washoe County is very busy, I mean, I'm sure that they've got so many things to do. I don't know. I don't believe that they've had a lot of time to present to you some of the things that were very important to the community. Is there any way for the public to have any access to you or someone where, I mean, there are a couple of people up here who really worked on that plan. One of them is in our audience here, and she'll only have 3 minutes. I have no idea how she'll cover anything in 3 minutes, but is there any way that they could contact the two of you and you could just say at some point, hey, we don't want anyone else calling us, but there are some really good data that we
We're
could
here
give
for
you.
you guys.
So-
Yeah, I think it's really about working its way through the process that Kevin spoke to. I mean, we are very aware of the projects. We assisted with the development of that plan. We were involved in that. So we're very aware of those. And now it's point of navigating the funding and getting resources put towards the project. And I think that's the phase we're in now. So yeah, I mean, I think that we need to keep the project front and center in terms of not only with our board, even though we don't have the funding decisions, but also with Washoe County and with NDOT. And there's various ways.
Okay, any other board questions? Okay, all right, Denise.
Two quick questions. A concern that we continue to hear is the Forest Service going to lock up parking lots during the winter? And secondly, I think I understand gas tax is by the county, correct or not?
So there's three.
Okay.
So Washoe County does index that tax, and so that goes to their fund to help with the projects they're delivering. And then there's a federal tax on the gas, and then there's a state tax on the gas. Those are fixed numbers. They don't move with price. It's 17.2 cents per gallon. That 17 cents goes to the state, 17 cents goes to the Fed. The federal government, the DOT is got a highway trust fund, and that's what allows us to have some of those those formula funds that we receive. And that's a whole talk an hour on that, but that's how currently our transportation network, including transit, is funded. It's through that mechanism of 17 cents. So it's a really, I'm not a doom. That's not a solvent solution. That's why you see local governments like Washoe index, Clark County indexes, because it's just not enough funding to really get all of the things we need done for our transportation networks.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna just take a quick poll because I want to see how much time we need to devote to this. How many people in the room have questions that you want to ask? Okay, couple of three. And I can't even see all the people online anymore. Can you do that?
If someone had their hand up, it would be.
If somebody had their hand up, it would go to
It
the
was
top.
Alexis,
Oh,
and
okay.
Alexis is not with us anymore, it looks like.
Okay, so Sheila, well, then that takes care of that decision. So Alexis, just for everyone in the room, because it's not officially on the agenda, was going to talk to us about, give us an update on what is happening with the old elementary school. Is that part of your interest in being here? Yes. So we definitely want her to speak when we can get it. Just to bring everybody up to date on that, December, November, I can't remember exactly which, TTD had a meeting in which they decided they would not try to make that into a mobility hub. Alexis stepped forward and said she would like to see if Washoe County can acquire that land, and they talked about transfer, so I don't know exactly what's happening there, but she has until like April to do that. And so I have asked her to keep us updated at every CAB meeting between now and April as to how that's going. And the idea there would then be that that land could be used for some workforce housing for the area, which we sorely need. So that's why I'm asking Alexis to speak, and we'll try to get her back on as soon as she is available. So sorry for the disruption, but let's go ahead and continue with questions in the room. So questions, hands up. All right, I'll let you continue. Oh, okay. So
come up by a
have you come up to the speaker.
State your name.
Loud voice. And you have to state your name.
Monica Arbenino,
Okay.
permanent resident. My question to you is, are these parking lots gonna all have fees, like the fees along the path here? Because in my opinion, the reason people park on the sides of the roads is a lot of them can't afford to go and pay that $12 or $15. And all of our accesses should be for everyone.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a to be determined. Tahoe Transportation District, and I'm not with the Tahoe Transportation District, but they do have a Park Tahoe program that I think they're going to look at, operating those parking lots under that umbrella. So whether or not it's paid, how much it is, I don't know that right now. But I think that is either a great future topic for the cab or something to track in terms of TTD and their board meetings and the discussions around the Park Tahoe program. I think that would be a way to track any decisions like that. Because I don't think that's set yet.
Okay, another question.
Hi, guys. I'm Steve Ross, local resident. In order to enhance the CAB's ability to communicate with the agencies regarding the local needs, it seems that on our key contact list, there are 7 or 8 different contacts there in 3 different agencies. Could you help prioritize where they should go first in order to communicate appropriately and so that it filters down to each of the agencies?
Good question. Yes. I failed to add some context to those key contacts in terms of, why would you contact each of those? And I can just run through that really quickly. I think for Washoe County, they should probably be included in any communication that goes out on a project, just because it's within their jurisdiction. And they have the Washoe County Transportation Plan that hopefully the improvements are contained within and should be aware of any advocacy related to any projects. Now, they could also be contacted if there were projects that you wanted to see done on the county right away, right? Not the state. County. Nevada DOT is really when you're focusing along 28 and you're looking for safety improvements, other improvements along 28 and trying to advocate for projects for that. So that's where you're going to Nevada DOT. For TRPA, we can help in a number of ways. I think I just put funding and FTIP, but we can help direct to like discretionary funding source of what's available out there that you could say, hey, Washoe County, we hear there's this safety funding program you should go after. So TRPA is more of a resource, I would say, in terms of, like I said earlier, providing connections to those planning documents to help with the advocacy and bolstering kind of your platform. So that's quick or you can contact Judy Weber or myself about tracking that funding. What's the status of this or that project in terms of funding that we all track through that FTIP document? So hopefully that helps. Sorry, I didn't put that on the slide. Give a little guidance on that.
Can I add to that, Nick?
Sure, fire away.
In the Washoe County Tahoe Transportation Plan, there is a table of projects, and that table of projects also has a list of partners. So that gives you an idea of that particular project. Maybe you start with TTD, or Nick was talking about like the various agencies, Washoe County, even some, NDOT. So that I think is also what we try to do is help identify when we're listing a project, sort of who that implementer might be, which helps you get in the right direction.
Right, good.
Yeah, and again, my email is up there. I'm pretty deep in it. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days, but I'll for sure get back to any questions that you guys have, especially in regards to the Washoe plan that was just done, and kind of walk through that a little bit more.
Okay, Alexis is back, so I hate to disrupt. Hang in there, guys.
Sure.
We'll make it worth your while somehow. We'll break now, and we're actually going back to agenda item number 4, which is announcements from Commissioner Hill.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting. Are you waiting for another person to speak? Is that what's happening?
We have more questions for our speakers that we will come back to.
Okay.
I don't want to have to abbreviate that to try to
Sure.
get in before you have to go. So let's
Okay.
go ahead and take you now.
Okay, thank you for your patience. Great to speak to everyone tonight. I wanted to just give a quick update on the old elementary school site and kind of where that's at in the process. I guess there's a bunch of misinformation swirling around the community. We had a great TTD meeting in December where the board gave direction to staff to go back to the county and find a way to potentially partner on a workforce housing use for the site. We have talked to Reno Housing Authority. They are going to have some discussions with their board, and if they are interested, then that will be a formal public process and a public hearing. And then they will have to go through a public process in order to develop the site for workforce housing. But we'll just kind of have to see how what their board recommends and what those discussions are. I have not heard an update, but looking forward to connecting with them on that soon. I'll keep the community apprised of those discussions and when those meetings will be. And I think, if the housing discussion is not something that can be pursued, then it will go back to the TTD board for consideration of other uses. It could be another public use, or it could be actually outright leasing or selling the property. So that's the update on that.
I'm sorry, Alexis, it's Roxanne. Are you ready for questions?
Yes.
Okay. So since we're on kind of a short time frame for this thing, do you know when the Reno Housing Board will be meeting? And is that something that those of us who would really like to see that move forward, is that a meeting we could attend and give our spiels?
Yes, I do not have a date for you. I'm hoping it's a February or March meeting, but once I do, I will be connecting with you, Madam Chairwoman, to give you that date so we can get it out to the community and make sure it gets on the forum, et cetera.
All right. Okay, anyone else have questions for Commissioner Hill? All right, thank you so much for
Thank you.
again, appreciate it. And I would like to see that we have an update each month between now and the time that it goes back to TTD.
Yes, I hear you.
I'll just put in my personal opinion that it would be a tragedy to lose one of the very few pieces of public land that's still available around here to sale, to public sale.
I agree. That's why I fought for it to stay in public hands. So
right.
I'll continue to fight for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Denise, did you want one quick? Denise has a question.
Not exactly a question, comment. Thank you for fighting to get the appointment to the APC taken off of the consent calendar.
My pleasure.
At the board meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm continuing to fight for microtransit funding too. So I'll keep the community apprised.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for coming in. I know you're quite busy right now. All right.
Thank you.
We will now return back to item number 6 or 7, whichever it is. 7. And so we have our guys back up, and we were around to, all right, Helen Neff.
It's so nice to meet you, Mr. Berry. Well, you may not say that. So, just to give you some background, most people in the room know this, you probably don't know this. 5 years ago, I was hit by a car crossing State Route 28, seriously injured. I should not be here. It took me about a year to get recovered. So the past 4 years, I have been trying to advocate for safety I am a complete failure. Nothing has happened in 4 years. I'm very, very discouraged. Michelle's very, very nice to say we have this new plan from 2023. I look upon it as a 3-year-old plan where nothing has been done. We have the Connections 2050, we have the Vision Zero, we have the ATP and the Washoe County Transportation Plan. We have TRPA saying that we can have bigger buildings on State Route 28 because it will make a walkable town center. Does not make a walkable town center until we have safety improvements. And I appreciate that everyone's talking about funding, but they're not expensive. We have a state highway as our main street, 35 miles per hour, most people going 50, 60 or 70 if it's the middle of the night. It doesn't take a lot of money to reduce the speed limit. I know you have to do a speed study. We did one in 2020. We can talk about that one. We need leading pedestrian intervals. We need 4-way pedestrian beacon crossings. We only have them 2 ways. Somebody just recently got killed at where the flashing beacon is going. So obviously they're not being effective. The one in front of the natural selections. We need protected bike lanes, and we need fewer driveways. So we're not talking about a huge amount of money. I know you have to study it, and that will probably take the biggest amount of money, but how can we get these things done? I'm gonna be dead before anything happens, not from being hit by a car again, because I'm very careful when I walk, but from old age. So, and my second comment is, you said that TRPA is the NPO for the Tahoe region. RTC is the NPO for the Reno area. So just this morning, I sat in on a RTC Vision Zero Task Force meeting, and they had a presentation of all the projects being done on the Reno side by RTC for Vision Zero safety. So their NPO is implementing those projects. Our NPO just gives
We don't have the same authority as them. They have 2 different authorities. The
Okay,
NPO
so
is one thing, and they have project delivery authority as well.
Okay, so who is our RTC?
So the county,
Just the
the
different,
county or Washoe RTC, they've done projects. I think.
okay. So, I guess that's all I can say. I couldn't see your email, but I'll get your email.
Oh, here.
Probably. Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's what I'm here for.
But our main street is a state highway, so we need state help to make our state highway a main street that people can walk and cycle and just travel safely on.
I agree. Carson's had a similar situation until we got the freeway around it. Douglas County, Minden Garterville has a similar situation. This is something that we see a lot of, so I don't disagree with you. So yeah, give me an email. I know so like they're at TIP, we have a STIP. It's a statewide transportation improvement program. It's our plan. This is what we're planning to do with the federal dollars that we have. One of those projects, I believe, is a preservation project on 28. I don't know if it's 29 or 30 or if it's sooner. And that's what it is. That's, to me, that would be our trigger to help implement some of these low cost safety improvements for 28.
So the plan is for the town center, not the corridor. So we have the 28 corridor, which is all
This is a pavement and rehabilitation job through Incline proper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's basically from 50, pretty far into Incline Village.
Okay. Well,
And so-
I don't want to take up more time.
No, I just want to, if you have good concerns and good questions, feel free to contact me.
I just don't want anyone else to be seriously hurt or killed.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody was killed, I think it was November 12th. If you go on Facebook, hundreds of people were upset about the safety.
Yeah.
And then they forget about it.
Yeah, no.
But I can't forget about it, so.
No, and it's important to us. It's absolutely our number one goal. So,
Okay,
I don't
thank
disagree.
you.
All right, so my apologies, because I didn't catch the part of that. There's a big project coming to upgrade 28.
So it's not really an upgrade, so. NDOT's charged with making sure all of our pavements in good repair.
Right.
That's a preservation project. Those are usually really, really quick, easy. We stay within the limits of right away. Not a lot of issue. They're expensive. Something like that is probably a $30-40 million job with just the resurfacing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a plan to do it in 28 or 29 or 30. That would be the year we try to obligate. when construction actually happens, that's a whole nother thing. We have to, up here, we have like 5 months or so to actually do any digging. So usually we have to make sure we aren't putting 50 in jeopardy as well as 28. So it's a timing thing as well. So we have to be careful, but that's the plan, is that we know we have to do a preservation job up here. And that's, to me, that's the kind of catalyst to help with some of these safety improvements
Yeah.
that don't create a lot of cost or time, right? What creates time is right-of-way acquisitions, utility relocations. Those can take upwards of, at a minimum 2 years. So we have to just be careful about that.
Okay. Okay, Diane, go ahead.
So when you say you're gonna rehabilitate the road, does that mean one of the things you could look at from our transportation plan is the idea of putting the striping lower where I guess they put the striping below the grade so that we don't, because we keep losing the striping, and that's a pretty major problem on 28.
Yeah, and that's okay. And so
That's the kind of thing you're talking about.
we could potentially do that. And I'm not trying to be negative. The one thing that is a problem with that is that plows don't run over that really well. And so we have to be careful with and I agree that the striping does get removed it feels like every winter it's gone, especially during a big winter. I've driven 28 for many, many years. So there are solutions there. We just have to make sure that it meets the solution for ongoing maintenance. We have a really pretty much a skeleton crew doing our maintenance lately, because and I hate to beat that same drum, but we don't pay well. And a lot of these people get trained and then ultimately find better paying jobs, which I'm all for. I get that, but it's hard to keep some of the maintenance staff around. They're very dedicated, but I mean, during COVID, I think we had maybe 8 drivers on 80 for our plows. 8. That's a big section. So that's the sort of thing we're always running into, is retaining help. We're doing good right now, but you never know.
So
We have to keep maintenance in mind, put these improvements in place.
So one of the things I had asked you for was like a timeline of when we can do things. So to me, this refurbishing of 28 in 29 or 30 is a target that we could shoot for. So can we back up from those dates and you tell us when it's final and it's too late for us to say anything? When is it going to be open? How can we talk to you? Give me that window and the how to get some of the things that Helen was listing
Right.
on that project plan.
So I think I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth, but I think I think we can talk about some of the things that could be included in that preservation job. To say it's all going to get in there is I would be lying to you guys.
I'm not crazy, so
Yeah.
I know it's our Santa Claus list. So
Right.
Okay.
But what I think we could start doing, because the safety is such a concern, is start having earlier conversations about, crack open the Washoe County plan, the other 28 plan, and see what elements are doable. Remember, when we do these corridor plans, it's all the recommendations. We're just trying to figure out all the things we need to have happen. Those could be long, mid, or short-term solutions. And what we don't want to do is, you've driven 28, it's got pretty decent chunks sitting out of it. So we need to get to that rehabilitation job. What we don't want to do is say, hey, we're going to do X, Y, Z, and then ultimately kick that. If we do those, then that preservation job goes from 29 or 30 to 32, 33 because of the utility relocations that we need to do and or right-of-way acquisitions we need to do. So we want to be careful that we add the right elements. We'll be back. That road never stays together. So if you think about it, every 5 to 10 years, we're probably out there doing something to keep it together. So those are the triggers for us to say, hey, what can we add that's gonna be, that low hanging fruit enough to, that we won't delay the project, but also put in some really good solutions to help with safety situations.
So Roxana, we're supposed to say our names, by the way, good for the minutes. This is Roxana again. So I'm kind of envisioning now that we put together that list of projects. We probably run it by Dave Solaro in Washoe County just to let him know that we're up to something. We come to you with that. You start telling us that is doable. We can throw that one in on the 2930 project. This one is going to take more, and so we'll put it on another list. We can come to you with some of that, and can we make some progress there?
I think we could, but remember, you guys have recommendations and needs. What we need to do is make sure we have the right solution. So for instance, you talk about the beacons, the rapid flashers. Is that the best solution? Is a crosswalk the best solution?
Right.
We want to make sure we're putting in the best solution.
Yeah.
So those recommendations we'll look at, but we want to make sure that's still meeting the intent of what we're trying to make better.
That's fine. I mean, all of that can be part of, Roxana again, all of that can be part of the discussion I totally understand. I come from a background where that was my job was, if not this, maybe this. So, I will put together a little group and go through those reports as you suggested.
You have my card?
Pull out, no, but you're going to give it to me here in a second.
Yeah.
And,
why don't you first contact me?
Okay.
Let's start talking about that 28 preservation job. Let me
See where it's at.
Yeah, let me do some digging, make sure the limits meet your needs. See what we can do, and then ultimately what I'd like to do is part of our solution too, as NDOT, is to talk about these big projects with the community to make sure we're incorporating some of the things we can.
Roxana, again, we would totally expect you to have to go through your procedures for community involvement and overview and that sort of thing. That's perfectly fine. But we would like to be on your whiteboard somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
All
right. And thank you. And so I kind of took everything over there for a second. Anybody else from the board want to chime in here? Anybody else in the room want to make another comment? And online, we have a very quiet online tonight. Okay. I think that's it. So thank you guys a lot.
Definitely appreciate the involvement, the engagement.
We shall return.
To help and
We're very Yeah, exactly.
All right. So great. So now we're moving on to Neighborhood Development Hub. Alexandra, while you're pulling that up, and my apologies because I had this written down and I meant to send it to you, but the evacuation study is doing a survey right now, and you should all go look at it, okay? And it's a little tricky to find.
Let me fill it out.
But yes, do fill it out. It lets you identify danger spots and just some other things like that and give your input. And those of us who are working on this want to make sure that everybody has had a chance to do that.
What's the deadline? March 30th.
The deadline, I think, got pushed to March something. So, so Alexandra, after you do what you're going to do here, is there a chance you can find that link and put it up for us? Wonderful. That would be spectacular. Okay, so now item number.
I said, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Item number 8, Neighborhood Development Hub and other engagement opportunities. And we know there's one out there now. Okay.
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick so you guys can see what I'm looking at. For the Neighborhood Development Hub, we do have, pulling it up here real quick. We do have one that is current, and it is for all districts. So that is the Attainable Housing Density DCA Neighborhood Meeting. There are two options currently, one that is available online and one that is available in person. The one online is occurring on this Wednesday on January 28th. And it is a Zoom meeting. So if you click on here around 5 or right before, they'll start letting people into the room to discuss this topic. The same topic is occurring, but again in person, and that is taking place the next day at 5:30 at the Washoe County Commission Complex, or Washoe County Commission Chambers at the Washoe County Complex at 9th Street. If you were to click into any one of these, it will take you to the project details where you can view more information on what they're going to be discussing, as well as any documents that are provided. Once the meeting concludes, so we'll click in.
Hello.
Froze. Yeah.
It's not us.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Alexandra, you have frozen at your end. You'll be happy to know it's not a really atrocious picture of you. As sometimes happens.
Mouth open.
Want to make it.
On which one?
Which one?
It's on this thing. So while we have this, Chris, didn't you tell me that this attainable housing thing is not about us?
Oh.
You're gonna,
I don't know. I'm just suddenly going, oh my God, I forgot about this. So.
okay,
She'll rejoin us in a second.
okay. Oh,
And it's probably hard.
all right, I'm going. Huh? I'm gonna repeat this so it gets in the minutes, but I just want to let everybody know, next month, we have Kate Thomas, who is the new county manager,
Oh, great.
coming to answer questions. Usually it's, here are all the wonderful things we've done this year, and here's the 1.5 that we did for Incline. I can say these things because we're not being recorded.
We are.
That was Roxana.
Okay, anyway, she will be here next month, and I'll repeat that when Alexandra finishes, so we get it in the minutes. Okay, Alexandra, are you back?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Lieutenant Tone, do you want to introduce your partner that's with you tonight?
Yeah.
Sure, so I know you guys are used to seeing Bernard McCaskill handle most of the cabs. For me, usually I backstop that, I'll come over here, I'll handle those, but I'll be gone for 3 months. So all the cabs in Washoe County are gonna be by tenured group of sergeants. The Sergeant Troy Byer.
Hi.
Hi.
Again, it's all very, very tenured sergeant. And they'll be taking over on the days that McCaskill can't make it, or I will be gone, and you guys will be in good hands. So they'll have that data to you guys. Any questions you have, they'll be able to take care of you.
Great.
Okay.
Who's back?
Thank you. Okay, Alexandra, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. So sorry about that. I've been having internet issues all day, so looks like it came to a head. I think where I left off was the projects, just giving you an example of what it looked like if you were to click into any of our projects. So it'll show you who the developer is, what the project details are, which district it's affecting. So for example, this one affects all districts, when the meeting occur, and then you're able to submit feedback if you aren't able to attend the meeting either in person or online. You do have that option as well. Please let me know if you have any questions on the Neighborhood Development Hub. But with that, I'm going to transition over to our boards and commissions. It was mentioned a few times, but we do have an opening on our.
Oh, we do have a question, Alexandra.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Thank you for catching that.
Helen Neff, Incline Village resident. So on the meeting that's this week, either by Zoom or in person, there is a proposed change in the development code establishing the affordability term for both sale and rental units. Units developed for retail sale may be sold without income restrictions after 5 years. rental units are subject to affordability standards for 30 years. So I read this to mean that deed restricted housing, if it's for sale, would only be deed restricted for 5 years. And I'm not expecting you to answer that, but I think it's important that anyone that's interested in affordable housing attend this meeting and get clarification from the county whether this provision means deed restriction is only for 5 years for sale, because that has huge ramifications for our area with all the housing developments that TRPA is doing. So we have to abide by TRPA regulations. We have no choice. We found that out with phase 2. We have to abide by Washoe County regulations. We found that out with ADUs. When I contacted planning and they were making the changes for ADUs in Washoe County, they said, oh, Tahoe is exempt because you fall under the TRPA. But when the TRPA was approving our phase 2, the county just said, well, this is what we do in the county, so it's going to be the same thing for Tahoe in Washoe County. And so as a result, we had very little time. We had no time to talk about the setbacks for ADUs. Yeah. So I just want to bring that up to the attention of everyone. If you can attend this meeting by Zoom and we can get some clarification on deed restrictions. At the Zoom meeting? Well, these neighborhood meetings are very somewhat casual compared to all the other meetings we have to do. So I will attend by Zoom and I will ask for clarification on this, but I think if other people can also ask, it would be appreciated. I think it's important.
28, well, that's Wednesday, geez.
Thank you. Are there any more questions in the room or online before I move on to board openings? Kathy, Julian, go ahead. Oh, actually, I don't believe you can without me unmuting you. Give me one moment. Okay, go ahead.
She's muted.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, on this very important point that Helen Neff just raised, when is this meeting? Let's get the date and time of this meeting wherein they could be discussing a provision that allows for the sale of deed restricted housing after 5 years, which basically negates any pipe dream of deed restrictions doing anything for workforce housing. Can we have some details on when and where how we get the link to that meeting and what time it is, and if you can follow up on whether that is in fact one of the proposals that would affect Incline Village?
So to answer your question, I did mention at the beginning that we do have 2 options to attend that meeting. So one is entirely online, and that one occurs this Wednesday, January 28th from 5 to 6 p.m. The other occurs the next day on Thursday, January 29th, and that one is entirely in person at the Washoe County Commission Chambers off of 9th Street. Both meetings can be found at our Neighborhood Development Hub, which we present on every month. I can post the link in the chat for anyone that wants to access it from there. You can also access it from our Washoe County page. You can either Google it, Neighborhood Development Hub. That will pop up these meetings as well as on our search bar on our website. As far as the following up, because it is occurring on Wednesday, I won't be able to follow up with the entirety of the CAB before then because we don't have a meeting until the end of February. However, there are planning staff that are assigned to this that you can reach out to. And then we can ask them to provide an update as well at a future meeting if that's something that you're interested in. If you're referencing, I guess, the meeting for an update on when it's going to come to like the BCC or Planning Commission or those types of governing bodies, that hasn't been set yet since it can't occur until after this neighborhood development meeting has occurred.
Okay, great. And am I to understand that the impetus for this is coming from the state NRS?
I couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell me. Okay.
No, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
great. No, that's okay. And if I can ask, I'm out of the country right now. If I can ask one of the people in the cab to make sure that we update that to the next door and including the Zoom link to that neighborhood meeting, that would be great. And I do recognize that the county has put it in next door, and thank you for that, Alexandra. But it would be helpful to put it in this context of the possible issue of resale of units at market rates after whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, Kathy.
Alexandra, Chris Wood has a question.
Hi, Alexander, Chris Wood from CAB. Is there a staff report on this proposal, or is that something that would be coming up? You mentioned that there are staff planning commission, or excuse me, staff planners who are working on this. Do they have a report?
They won't have a report until after the neighborhood development meeting because the comments and requests that come through those meetings will be included in that report to the governing body. So once the meeting occurs, I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So for example, on this one, actually not a great example. So what happens is once the neighborhood development meeting occurs, it then goes to an application, and that's why this link is listed here as well. So on the Washoe County applications page, once it loads, you'll see that it has the various projects that have been submitted for each of the districts, as well as multi-district and all districts. And from there, you'll see where it is in the planning process or the planning stages. So let me give you an example here. So we're talking about an all district item. So we have the sidebar here where it goes 1 through 5, as well as multi-district and current applications. So the one that we're talking about here is actually the affordable housing density bonus. So it looks like it's actually scheduled to be heard on March 3rd, 2026 to the Planning Commission. So once they collect all the information, then they'll have a staff report for that meeting. You can click into either of these. So E. Young will just give you the his county email. So you can go ahead and email him if you have any specific questions. Unfortunately, I just provide the information. I don't have the technical expertise to answer any in-depth questions. But you are also able to click on the Planning Commission, and that'll take you to their meetings page. So you can access the full agenda as well, including the staff report, any documents, and any feedback that's been provided.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, looks like Eric Young is the.
Yes, plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Any other questions? All right, now Alexandra, can you take a minute and find that evacuation link?
I just put it up.
What?
I just put it up there.
You just put it up there.
Good.
Okay. All right.
So actually, the other thing that I usually present on is what was mentioned a few times earlier on in the agenda, which was the TRPA Advisory Planning Commission. So that opening is currently available and ready to apply. We are going to be sending out notice of that tomorrow morning, so you guys will receive that directly to your inbox. So this just lists out information regarding the board itself, how it was formed. If you want to find out more about the opportunity, it has that information here. And then what applicants we are looking for. Again, it is preferred that the applicant do live in the Lake Tahoe Basin, although this can be waived by the BCC as directed by the Bi-State Compact, which outlines that requirement. This would be for a term to start beginning in March, since that's when the current term ends, and then extending 2 years from there. And then that individual may be reappointed thereafter if that's what they are seeking. The deadline for this is February 9th, so you have just 2.5 weeks or just under 2.5 weeks to apply by 5 p.m. And then the application is here. If you wanted printed application, we can also provide that. Just please reach out to Commissioner Support, which is my team, and we can get a printed one available and ready to fill out. But that is the board openings. And Denise, you said that you had the Swift exit open and available?
No, I just put the link in the chat.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I actually have our Engage page here. So I will drop the link in the chat as well. So this is our Engage platform, which includes the different areas to get involved. So we have community input, which is the QR code or the link that's listed at the end of your agenda to provide input on your area. There's also the budget when we had the budget presentation back in early 2025. Emergency management is actually where you would access the evacuation study. So if you click into that category, we have the Swift Exit Evacuation Study active project. In that project is where you will find all of the information regarding the study, what the current project phase is for that. And then at the bottom, you can take our Swift Exit Evacuation Study survey, which includes the mapping tool that Roxanne had mentioned, where you can provide information on bottlenecks, issues that may not have been flagged, or areas of concern in your community, since you guys know your community's best. So anyone that is interested in taking that, please go ahead and do so. Again, I will drop the link in the chat. You also are able to participate in our ideas board as well as our discussion topic, and other various ways to get involved. And with that, I will also take any questions that anyone has. Any questions in the room?
None in the room?
Anyone online? If you could raise your hand. I do not see anyone online.
Okay. All right, we're on to agenda item number 9, general public comment. Same rules as before. Anyone in the room want to make comment? Anyone online? All right. And then number 10,
Most important.
approval of minutes. Yay.
I move that we approve the 2 sets of minutes that we have had to review October 27th, 2025 and November 24, 2025.
Roxana, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. And that brings us to adjournment.